exciting as it is to see a killer whale in the open ocean, it's not a welcome sight for sailors near the Strait of Gibraltar. In the waters by Spain and Morocco, there have been hundreds of encounters over the past 3 years with Iberian orcas intentionally ramming sailboats. No one's been killed, but at least 4 boats have been sunk so far, and witnesses say the animals appear to be targeting the rudders. Scientists don't know why this endangered species would do this. One theory is that a leader of a pod has taught younger whales to go after boat rudders. The reason why is anyone's guess. Researchers are using satellite tags to indicate where the pod is so sailors can avoid the area. This is The World from A to Z with Carl Azus. I'm Carl Azus. We're happy to see you and to have you watching this Tuesday. The World from A to Z is a brand new, unbiased 9-minute look at events taking place worldwide, and we have a bit of a nautical theme going on today. You'll see more on that later. Now though, we're taking you to the Mediterranean island nation of Cyprus, where multiple countries are fighting a wildfire that scorched some mountainous areas of this island. Lebanon, Greece, and Jordan are sending aircraft and fire retardant after the flames flared up again over the weekend. Officials had thought it was under control before that. Not the case. On land, crews are working to hem in the fire by building breaks in the ground around it. So far, it's scorched 3.5 square miles of land. The Mediterranean is a huge tourist area. Wildfires have been burning all summer in a lot of those popular places around the region, including Italy and Portugal, and a brutal heat wave has made fighting them difficult. If the wildfires keep burning and the temperatures stay high, travel experts worry people could choose to vacation elsewhere, hurting local economies. A deadline has come and gone for military leaders in the African nation of Niger to reinstate the country's president. Niger's junta, its military, seized power in a coup on July 26th. They said they did this because Niger was getting more and more dangerous and that the government wasn't leading effectively. But the country's president, Mohamed Bazoum, was Niger's first democratically elected leader since it became independent in 1960. He says he's now a hostage and has asked for help. And now, some other African countries are threatening to take military action if President Bazoum isn't returned to power, while others are warning of international war if those nations who support him get involved.
Now they have to make a decision, and they have 2 equally terrible choices. If they go ahead and militarily intervene, they risk destabilizing the region and getting involved in a protracted conflict. If they do nothing, then they are endorsing another military taking over and overthrowing a government in the region when they've already seen that in Mali, in Burkina Faso, and in Guinea. The neighboring governments of Mali and Burkina Faso, the military leaders there said any military intervention in Niger would be tantamount to an act of war against them. And so now the region holds its breath to see exactly what ECOWAS, the Economic Community of West African States, will do about this situation in Niger.
On this date in world history. You know that phrase, penny for your thoughts? Well, this here one's worth a whole dollar. In fact, August 8th is known as Dollar Day in the United States because it was on this date in 1786 that Congress decided the dollar would be the official monetary unit of the United States. Guess they thought that made sense. On August 8th, 1974, U.S. President Richard M. Nixon announced he would resign from office. He was being investigated for his alleged involvement in the Watergate scandal, and his action the next day made him the first and only U.S. leader to resign. In 2008, this was the date of the opening ceremonies at the Beijing Olympic Games. It was the first time the Games were held in China, and 14 years later, the nation's capital hosted the Winter Olympics, making it the first city ever to have hosted both the Summer and Winter Games. $800 for a pair of tickets, $300 for a hotel, $50 for gas, $50 for parking, another $100 for dining out over a day or two, and a fan has set aside $1,300 before he even saw Taylor Swift take the stage. This has been a common occurrence across America for the pop stars' sold-out shows, with many fans spending much more. And for the cities where these shows are being held, those expenses I mentioned are all adding up to yield a significant economic impact.
The multiplier effect is just enormous, and it's a new phenomenon. It's not even compared. Super Bowl doesn't compare to this.
Sanjay Sharma, professor of finance at the University of Southern California, has been studying and estimating the Taylor Swift numbers. He says he could see the Eras Tour being what he called a $5 billion GDP-type tour.
So that includes ticket sales, that includes hotels, that includes all of the small shopkeepers.
He says quantifying it is hard, but points out that the money stays in the U.S., boosting local economies. And it's happening from California to Massachusetts, Pennsylvania to the Plains.
We kind of think this is the quintessential welcome.
The U.S. and soon the world benefiting from the Taylor Swift economic.
A world of knowledge. Thalas or thalasso comes from the Greek term meaning what? Sea, blood, bone, surface. This term is a combining form meaning sea.
So in the case of thalassophobia, you're talking about fear of the ocean or fear of the deep. Well, with thalassotherapy, it's just the opposite. It's the idea that spending time in or near bodies of water, like the sea, actually have health benefits. But is there any science to that? That depends on whom you ask. The entry for this on Wikipedia states, quote, "There is no scientific evidence that thalassotherapy is effective." But some medically reviewed articles say there's not a lot of research on it at this point, though people have sought therapy at the sea for decades, and that seawater and sea salt baths might help with certain skin conditions or muscle aches. Whether or not you find a trip to the beach rejuvenating, the sea continues to give up secrets as research dives deeper into it.
You're looking at a deep-sea octopus nursery off the shores of Costa Rica, and it's remarkable because it's one of only 3 known octopus nurseries in the world. That's according to the Schmidt Ocean Institute, which provided these pictures. Researchers there say baby octopi are hatching some 9,000 feet below the surface of the ocean. Some scientists believe this may be a new species of moose octopus, which isn't a hybrid moose octopus, sadly. Moose octopus describes a genus of small to medium-sized octopi with no ink sac, which other species use to keep predators from seeing them. Images of these were captured by a robot, and until now, scientists thought octopi needed warmer and maybe shallower waters to hatch their young. In fact, when this octopus outcrop was first discovered 10 years ago, researchers didn't see any developing embryos, so they thought the 45-degree water wouldn't allow the eggs to survive. Now, researchers believe hundreds of animals, including some seen for the first time, could be down here near Costa Rica. And an official with the Schmidt Ocean Institute says this proves there's still so much to learn about the sea. I'm Lindsay Wolfgang Mast for The World from A to Z.
This is always a fun part of the show, the chance to check out who's watching. Yesterday, we were coast to coast. Today, we're in the Midwest. Mr. Kosorik's classes are here from Bloomington Junior High School in Bloomington, Illinois. It's nighttime. And over in Wabash, Indiana, we've got Mrs. Hodson and her students at Wabash High School. Let's go Apaches. We'll be announcing viewers throughout the year. Last week, a 25-year-old man got into a John boat in St. Augustine, Florida, and disappeared. 30 hours later, a Coast Guard flight spotted him. Charles Gregory was 12 miles away from shore, and his small, flat-bottomed boat was halfway underwater. His father told CNN that Charles had lost his phone and life jacket after going for an early morning fishing trip and that he was scared to death. The Coast Guard says he had no medical needs at the time of his rescue and that this is a reminder to everyone to bring safety gear like a locator beacon and a marine-grade radio whenever you get into a boat. Hey, speaking of boats, the driver of this one fell off last week while it was still running near Tampa Bay, Florida. He was rescued, but the runaway boat was left plowing the sea at 40 miles per hour. So a sheriff's vessel caught up to it, matched its speed, and a Florida deputy jumped aboard to take control of the boat and steer it away from danger. Made it look easy, too. Pinellas County posted the video and says the hero deputy does his own stunts. But the question is he a boat to take a turn and make the leap from officer to action star given the waves he made in that current sequence of events? It all comes down to what gives him props, what he'd rudder do, whether he's ready to dive in, and of course, what floats his boat. I'm Carl Azus, having a little fun and games on the world from A to Z. Thank you for taking the time to watch. You are the best part of what we do.